Hi, guys. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Cleared Sand podcast. This is Francois, your co host. I'm here with Roel today. Hey, Roel, how are you?
Hello.
And I guess if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see that we're not alone. We also have Adrian Granados with us today. Hey, Adrian, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So Adrian is already, I guess, known in the industry. He's the man behind all the cool Wi-Fi tools we use on macOS. And we wanted, I guess, to have him on the show today to talk about the new product he's been working on, the new updates to the existing products he launched earlier last week. And also, he recently transitioned to working full time for his business. So we wanted to also check in with him and see how things are going and what it's actually allowing him to do on his software side, the software development side of things to just we've had you in the past on the show, so we thought it would be a nice opportunity to kind of follow up with you, Adrian. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I was telling my wife that you guys had me on episode 7, I think, of the show.
Yeah, very
So it's
early
been
on.
it's been a long time. Yeah, but no, we're doing great. Yes, so I started working full time on the apps
Hmm.
back in June. I left the university I was working with and just started working on the apps. Had to, it's been quite interesting forming the company and doing all the boring stuff like taking care of paperwork and
Hmm.
learning about taxes and all that stuff. But besides that, I'm very excited to to be able to have all the time to work on the apps. And yeah, I've been busy just for now bringing up the apps up to date with the latest changes in Big Sur
Hmm.
and making sure that the apps run smoothly on the new M1 Mac.
Awesome.
But I also have some new features and new stuff going on the latest Explorer Pro 3, and some also also some new ideas. Yeah, I'm working on.
Well, and when you talk about the fact that you're making sure that your apps are still running properly on the new OS version, Big Sur, it sounds like something small, but I'm guessing it's a lot of work making sure that first of all making sure that the OS is working properly, and then I guess your tools are also interacting with Mac OS and with the Wi-Fi NIC. So you also need to make sure that part is working, and you're not actually controlling that part. So sometimes if that part is not working, it's kind of like frustrating, I'm guessing, for you to kind of fix those issues or go back and forth with Apple.
Yes, in fact, the code base for Wi-Fi Explorer goes back to 2012.
Wow.
So with the latest, it usually takes me, I don't know, 2 3 days to make the changes when a new macOS comes up. But this year with Big Sur,
Hmm.
it's been a lot of stuff because of the new technologies and frameworks. So I actually spent, I would say, 60% of the time for the past 4 months just fixing stuff and making sure it runs fine on Big Sur. And
Wow.
But
also testing on the new hardware. Yeah.
when you saw the announcement of the M1, I'm sure you probably knew about it as a developer ahead of time, right? Maybe in a beta format. But how do you prepare for that? Because once people have the new laptop with the M1 chip, I'm assuming they're going to notice that a lot of applications don't really work natively, and so they'll have issues.
Mhm.
How are you able to prepare for something like that?
Well, developers can apply for Apple had this universal, um it's called the Universal App Program, and you can apply for it as a developer, and you get a what they call a development transition kit. It's a Mac Mini with a ARM processor. for you to start testing the apps and making sure they run. It's not the same processor as the M1, but it's very similar. So I mean, it's
Okay.
the same architecture. So with that, you have a chance to test and make sure that your apps run and everything. So I was able to be approved for that program and and test the apps on the new architecture to make sure that they run fine.
Okay. And
Do
how
you have
was
to
the
purchase it or do you get it for free? Sorry, Roel.
I don't know where's
No, it's you lease it. So
Oh,
okay.
you lease it. Okay. You have to
yeah,
return it at one point.
yeah, you have to return it once the program finishes and the Apple wants it back.
Hmm.
Before we go into your updated applications, what was it like transitioning from working with the university and doing your applications together? You know, you're separating your time between both. Now you're full time on this. What was that transition like for you? And when did you make that decision to go full time?
Well, I kind of had to make the decision to go full time because there was a reduction in force at the university because of the COVID pandemic. So I was offered an early retirement uh, opportunity. So I saw that as a chance to finally, create my own company and start working on it. So that's what I did, and I thought the transition was going to allow me to have like more time to work on the app because now it's only the apps, but because I have to take care of paperwork
Yeah.
and now the website because it's me and my wife, so we created the website from scratch and moved
Wow.
everything from my old adriangranados.com website to the new one, and then working on the apps and stuff. So I it's been busy,
Hmm.
but I enjoy it. Like to be honest, I don't miss the university. Yeah,
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Sometimes we need those little push from the, those little
yeah. It took.
opportunities
I
to
guess it
kind
took
of,
a
you know,
pandemic to to
yeah.
make the
To make it
switch.
happen. Yeah, and
Yeah, to
usually
make it happen.
it's those types of cases that trigger these events, right? And I think we all
Yes.
kind of share that experience where we each of us have our own business, and that's why I ask you that question because I'm still split between two jobs, right? I got my full time job and then I have my side business, so it's a lot of juggling and I like
Yeah,
to
and
hear about people's experience transitioning to what they have as their passion, as their full time job as well.
yes, and part of the deal for the early retirement was getting health insurance for a year
Oh, nice.
paid off.
Hmm.
So that was a kind of a good thing because then I I will that was always a concern for me,
Yeah.
but was still a concern. But having that paid off for a year let us focus on the business and make sure it's running smoothly so that when that year ends, we are ready to take care of those expenses.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So why don't we jump in then to, I guess, Wi-Fi Explorer 3 or Pro 3 is what I'm using. Can you give those who are not familiar with the application kind of an introduction to it and what's new with Explorer Pro 3?
Yeah, so Explorer Pro 3 it's a Wi-Fi scanner, um, and so initially I had this is the standard version only, but then in 2017 I I created this version called Wi-Fi Explorer Pro, which has like features designed for WLAN professionals, so for more advanced troubleshooting and stuff. So that was 3 years ago, and this year I decided that with the changes to Big Sur and the new interface, I wanted to have something refreshed and also add some new features. So there are many things I added to the new Pro, but the ones that I really like, and I think they're very nice additions, are the ability to create custom column profiles. So you can now choose and create a combination of columns that you can switch back and forth depending of the scenario you are troubleshooting. Let's say you are troubleshooting something related to mesh networks or something like that, then you have a profile that has columns with fields that show you information about mesh networks. But then you want to troubleshoot some hotspot 2.0 networks or something like that, then you can switch easily to a set of columns that
Hmm.
show the different fields for those networks. Then I also added some ability to list the associated clients or connected clients to the APs.
That's very nice.
And yeah,
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 yeah.
it's
Maybe you
nice. I mean,
can. I was going to say maybe you can push that even further in the upcoming version where you can actually show like retry rate per clients or data rates per client,
yes,
stuff
yes,
like that.
that was kind of the first step, was getting that
Hmm.
information or getting to see the clients and list the clients in the app. I'm actually now getting some feedback, and so I'm thinking on what changes can be done to make that even better.
Hmm.
And with so many columns now that you can because the other thing is that you can now create columns from the information element fields. So there is actually more than 550 fields that you can use to create a
Wow,
column.
sounds like
And with so
Wireshark.
many, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, not you. Of course, you're not gonna need, I would say, most of them because
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
this, but
It's
the
just
ability
specific to the
to
use
go and
case.
find
Yeah.
a specific one and then just add it as a column is pretty nice. And with so many columns that you can have now, I also added the ability to pin or fix a column to the left edge of the table.
hmm,
So if you are scrolling
Oh
horizontally,
yeah, that's useful.
then you still see like the business ID or the SSID,
Yeah,
and you're scrolling, and then you see the other
yeah.
fields next to the value you are next to the network you are
Do you want to
focusing on.
show people what you're referring to?
Sure, yeah. Let me share the screen
Yeah. Go ahead and pull up the app, and then I'll put your
and
screen on the recording.
yeah.
There you go.
nice.
So this is the main interface here. There is a right sidebar here with something that I call inspectors.
Hmm.
So you should here. So the first one, it's so the first one. This one shows it's just some recommendations that I I came up with depending on the different configurations. But more interestingly, this sorry, it's kind of slow. That so this is the network I'm connected to right now. It's my home network, and you can see the clients here on the right side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really neat to see, and you could see the
Hmm.
signal strength based on where you're scanning. Because I notice you're using a WLAN Pi to do the scanning right there at the
yeah, I'm
top.
scanning. Yeah, and the reason for that is because this client information is only available when you do passive scanning.
Yes.
So if I'm connected on the Wi-Fi, if I were to use passive scanning on the tool, then I will be disconnected
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
from
The
the
call.
call.
Yeah.
But by using we can use as a remote sensor the WLAN Pi, and this is what I'm using to scan. So you see here the clients, and so this is the signal strength as seen by the WLAN Pi.
And
Uh,
because you could use a WLAN Pi as a remote sensor, you would still be able to get this client's information, right?
yes. Um, so let me organize this networks by say by
So
name.
could you also do this discovery if you were to do an active scanning from the NIC of the your laptop, macOS laptop?
No. So that's the thing that
No,
it
you need
seeing the
like a remote
clients
sensor.
works. Well, no, not really. Seeing the clients works for any mode except active mode.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, so you could do like a passive mode and get the
I
information.
can do passive all channels or a single channel. In fact, if you do a single channel, uh, because you are interested only on channel 6, for example, then it's better because
Mm-hmm.
it's not hopping between channels. So there's the way I show the clients is by just detecting data packets on the air.
Okay,
Uh, so if you are focusing on a single channel, the chances to see a client improve
greater. Yeah, yeah.
So
are greater. Yeah.
in order to see these clients, you actually have to do some sort of level of packet capture and then look at the capture itself.
Yes, the
Okay.
passive scan on Wi-Fi Explorer works by doing it's basically a packet capture.
Okay.
Where in the other version I was looking only at the beacons, but now I'm looking at the beacons and some control frames and data frames, so I can extract or determine which clients are talking which different with the IPs on the air.
That's very
Um,
nice.
so
What
yeah,
are those
I was
other columns there? So you're looking at clients right now. What's that first one that has a Wi-Fi signal with an exclamation point?
That's the recommendations.
uh,
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the recommendations for it's some recommendation based on what for example, this one says it appears this network is 2.4 gigahertz only because there
Okay.
is no match that has a 5 gigahertz. Then we have history. This is just listing the data points for all the measurements of the scan with average,
Nice.
maximum, and minimum. And then we have this inspector, which is the utilization inspector. And then here you can see beacon overhead for the given channel,
Yeah.
for example.
That's nice.
And in Pro 3, I added this column, the overlapping networks. So if you select channel 1, it's going to display the networks on channel 1 plus the networks that overlap with channel 1. So in this
I
case,
see.
this one running on channel 4.
Okay. So it dynamically changes that
Yeah,
middle
there is one.
pane and it creates a it's basically filtering it.
It's a filter. Yeah, another way to filter. Um,
Nice.
but you can choose whether to show the overlapping networks or not just the networks on the specific channel. So you see me here scrolling horizontally. So if I say I can pin this column, and now if I scroll, that column gets
Yeah.
fixed.
So for the listeners, you can't. I would recommend you guys check out the video to actually see this happen. But yeah, Adrian is pinning a column, and for those who have used Wi-Fi Explorer, and you have a lot of columns, sometimes when you scroll to the right, you might want to keep that BSSID column, for example, or the network name
Mm-hmm.
pinned there, so you can always see which one you're referring to when you look at a column.
Right. And you can do that with any column, and you can have two of them. For example, I can do BSSID and vendor, for example.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
and you
That's
can
nice.
move around between those sections. Um, and then, so I was talking about all the columns you can add.
I really like the idea
So
of the
now we have
profiles.
the
Yeah, it
profile.
looks
So
very
here I have a
similar
new,
to Wireshark. Yeah.
yeah. So you have a new profile, and you can give it a name. Let's say,
Care to send.
sorry,
Just kidding. Care to send.
it's here to send. And let's say I want to add a field, then I click the plus button, and then I have a list of 585
I really like that you
fields.
could search for it. Thank you
So
for
you can,
adding a
yeah.
search
So
field.
let's say a mesh ID. So I add
Did
that
you
one.
manually created all of them?
Sort of, yes, because I had because I already parsed every field to show them on the advanced details tab.
Yeah.
Then it was just a matter of adding kind of an identifier so I can pull it up in this window and show it as an option for a column. So now you have here a column called mesh ID,
Nice.
which, well, none of these networks are mesh networks, but
Well, let me do that on
then
mine
you,
because this is perfect for the mesh episode that we're gonna do.
yeah, and then yeah, and you can add it that way, or you can just go to the advanced details, select a network. Let's say you wanna the ERP, the let's say the non ERP present. So you just drag it
No way.
to the table, and that, and now you have a
That's
column
awesome.
for the non ERP present. You
Nice.
can also rename the column if you don't like that name. Then you just do I don't know,
That's
field.
awesome. You thought of everything.
Yeah, so I really like this profiles feature. Um, so you
Have
can
you
then
tried
switch back and forth
sorry, I was gonna say, have
between
you tried
profiles.
I mean, I'm seeing this now. I want to see more, like especially on the client side of things. So I was gonna ask you, have you tried like to try to play with like OFDMA or Wi-Fi 6 specific frames? But I'm guessing it would require more work on your end, right?
What you mean, like OFDM specific frames?
Like, I mean, like it would be nice to see if OFDMA is in use, and we actually see data frames using OFDMA and trying to
Oh,
see how
okay.
many users are
Yes.
spreading the channel. You see what I mean? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No. Right now we don't have something like that. But yeah, now I mean I'm looking at the packets. So if there is something I can get from there and show it. But right now it's everything you can add as a column is it just comes from the information elements on the beacons and proof responses.
So
Mhm.
does that mean we could use the
So if
Jetson
it's
Nano with Wi-Fi Explorer and then grab those columns and add it to? Because if the Jetson Nano can catch some of these OFDMA frames, would we be able to add that into Wi-Fi Explorer as a column? I guess no.
yes,
We should ask Gurmand if he's
I
done
mean
it already.
well well the thing is that for scanning, well let me think for scanning. I mean right now
Are you?
I could see AX networks from this computer if I had any
Mhm.
and show the beacons and stuff. I mean I don't need a Jetson Nano for that. If we
Okay.
are talking
What?
about they getting stuff from the data packets, for example, then yeah, I will need a Jetson Nano or something like that
Okay.
to scan.
Are you retrieving the radio tab header?
Yes,
Okay, so I guess if you do the scanning from the Jetson Nano, you'll be able to retrieve the HE radio tab header, and you can get information from that.
yes, yeah. Right now I don't. I mean I can get the radio tab header. I'm not using it except for getting like the channel and the frequency and the
Mhm.
signal strength. But yeah, it would actually I should look into adding fields from the radio tab header. That should be handy to have. Um,
Take a look at it. We'll see.
and
We'll see you in 2 months.
yeah,
Well, I still
and the
think
other
that.
thing I added that I like is the
Oh
ability to
yeah, good.
compare two networks. Uh,
Oh, okay. Comparison
so
of two
if you
networks.
if you select any two entries from the table, then you can get this automatically. You get this view where it lists the information elements that are common between the two networks,
Wow. Okay.
and which ones are different and which ones are the same, or which ones are present in one network but not the other. Um,
That's awesome.
so
That's really nice.
this is nice for when you are looking at, for example, let's say you have a guest network and you have an employee network, and you wanna maybe look at the differences in capabilities between the guest network and the employees network,
Yeah.
Hmm.
stuff like that. Or if you had a bunch of I don't know, if you have an IP that is misbehaving on an SSID, and then you can compare it to another IP, see if something is different about that specific BSSID that might be causing a problem.
Yeah, that's really a interesting use case where, like you said, I've ran into a situation like that where clients were not connecting properly to an SSID. So with a user not wanting to make modifications to that specific SSID, you could tell them to stage up another one with a specific set of settings and then compare the two as to why maybe one works and the other one. And using just Wi-Fi Explorer to do that, I think is really handy because you're just using your laptop. You're not using, a bunch of other tools to do
Yeah.
this.
Hmm.
And it highlights the specific fields that are different. For example, in these two networks, the ERP information element one network has the use protection set, and the other one doesn't have that one set. So it highlights the specific difference between the two.
Yeah, and it's a good visual way to show people what could be happening on this network, right? So is there a way to take this view and export it, or right now it just looks like we just have to take a screenshot?
A screenshot for now. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So this is one more thing that I like on the left side, on the sidebar to the left, we get a bunch of filters that are built depending on the scan results. And one of the filters that I added was the information element. So now you can select, for example, show me all the networks. Sorry, it's kind of lagging here. I don't know. Show me all the networks that have the BSS load information element. So you select
Hmm.
that one and it shows those networks. But then
Nice.
you can press the space bar and it shows you all the networks that do not have that information element.
Oh, okay.
No way.
Shortcut. Very nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a quick way to check the presence of different capabilities and which networks have them, which networks don't have them.
Yeah,
That's
that's neat.
very useful if you're checking if 11, RKV are supported and stuff like that.
Yeah, for example, people ask me, "Oh, where is this channel utilization metric coming off?"
Hmm.
And it's from the BSS load information element. And so some users say, "Oh, I don't see it," so you have to go and check if you have it enabled on your AP. And this is a quick way of looking at that.
Okay. Before we go into Airtool, what is another feature that you think people should know about with Wi-Fi Explorer?
Um,
Which feature did you spend the most time on? I guess.
oh, the column profiles. That was the most.
Oh
Well,
yeah, I
that one
noticed
and
you had colors. Hmm.
the pinning of the columns. But I also like that now you can select the networks from the by clicking on the chart.
Hmm.
Before that was not possible, and
So what about the colors?
then
Did you just set colors per network, or how do you define the colors that I used?
those are just random colors. But the other day I was thinking about maybe using the color for something more meaningful. and maybe have a
Mm-hmm.
way to say, for example, all the networks that have AX will be, I don't know, yellow, and those that are B networks, red or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so maybe I will be adding something like that in the future where you have some themes. Maybe you can define your own themes and then
Of
use the
course.
color for something more meaningful. Because right now it's just, I guess it's so
Pretty
it looks
colors.
pretty, but yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
it's a
Yeah.
colors.
good it's a good start to what you're implementing with Wi-Fi Explorer, and I think it'll be a lot more useful now, with especially with the profiles, because there are situations where I have removed columns and then I forget to add the which columns that I had for a specific situation. Maybe I can create a
Yes.
profile just for testing very unique capabilities that I'm trying to compare. And I think having even that comparison is a big plus, because if I stage up one network, set up another one, I could start looking at the differences between the two, show that to people. And I think Francois, as you're an instructor, you could probably leverage this as well for your teachings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually do that with Wireshark, where I have one profile that I use when I do my work, my troubleshooting. I have one profile that when I teach. I have one profile that I use if I'm doing like voice work or whatnot. So I think it could be, useful to leverage that feature and do the same thing. You and I, we do a lot of testing, and when you do testing, I always use Wi-Fi Explorer to kind of see,
Yeah.
what changed and did my configuration update, and so I could leverage this column to see, okay, I'm working on 11V right now, and I could display everything I'm working on, or I'm working on WPA3, and I could quickly validate with profile that my configurations are. Or I did a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Hotspot
Yes.
2.0 as well, so I understand what you're talking about there, all the fields and stuff. So I think it's very useful, like you said, for different. And maybe, I mean, if in the future, just like Wireshark, if we have the ability to kind of share our profiles, maybe we can create some sort of
But
database
yeah,
of profile for Wi-Fi Explorer. Yeah.
I was gonna say that you can go to the preferences and export your profile or import
Oh, there you go.
one that you
Look
get
at that. Feature is already
sent.
there.
Yeah. So we'll just wait for
And the
Eddie or
other,
Joel to share their profiles and we'll import that.
yes, the other, yeah, the other thing is that, and this might not be, for everybody, but if you have a laptop where you run Wi-Fi Explorer, and then you have an iMac or another computer where you run it, the settings, the profiles, and all other settings are synchronized between them automatically. So if you
Nice.
create a profile here, it's going to show up in your other computer when you run Wi-Fi Explorer.
Oh, that's perfect.
How do you do
Uh,
that? Do you use
it
iTunes?
iCloud.
No. iCloud?
iCloud, yeah, yes, I
Okay.
use iCloud. So as long as they have the same Apple ID login,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be shared.
Awesome.
It's gonna be synchronized between the two computers.
All right.
And
So,
for the spectrum analysis, sorry,
oh
Rob,
yeah, I
just
see that there.
before. Yes, no change for the spectrum analysis, right? It's kind of like the same as before.
Oh, yeah, it's the same as before, except that now it supports the Osmium YPri 2500X.
Nice. Do you get more data in
So
compared to the DBX, or is it the same type of data you're getting?
no, it's the same type of data. It's they're pretty similar actually. So
Is
Okay.
that
yeah,
what
it's
you're plugging
let
in
me.
right now? I heard you take out a piece of equipment.
Yeah, I was gonna do that, but I ran out of USB ports. But
Oh, it's okay.
let me unplug the Pi.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's just I unplugged it, so it's no longer.
We're
I would
doing it
I
live,
would
live
just messing
demo.
with you.
Yeah, we're just saying
Yeah.
it's a live demo, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, nice. Yeah, you can see
So you can start seeing the
spectrum.
plots. So it puts it on the spectrum tab on the pane down below, and you get a
Mm-hmm.
Here you have
waterfall.
the Wi. Yes. So you can
It's
choose the same as the DBX. You can choose 2.45 or
it's pretty fast, and I think we
We just
lost him.
lose Adrian.
Yeah.
That's the beauty
for
the
a
beauty of
quick
live
view of
demo.
both
Oh,
bands.
Oh, there he goes. We kind of lost you for a bit. I think because your computer is
Oh, okay.
it was gathering all the spectrum, but we did see it started to do a waterfall, and then it was pretty quick. Is from what I
mhm.
can see as you're sharing your screen that is able to display everything there with the spectrum, and you're doing it over 2.4. So again, it's like one app that you could use on your laptop if you've got the spectrum
Hmm.
analyzer from MetaGeek to just plug that in and start doing some quick analysis of your Wi-Fi network, especially with all the filtering and the profiles and the comparing SSIDs. It's very all very useful.
Yes. And one last thing before we go, there's also an inspector to show the proximity beacons that are nearby.
Oh, okay.
So I don't
Is
know
that
if you can
from
see that right now.
yeah. Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, we could see
Yeah,
that.
we can see.
And so
Okay.
it's just
So
basing it on
Yeah. So
the signal strength.
these are some Aruba beacons that I have here at
Oh,
my home
beacons.
for
Okay.
testing.
so
Beacons, yes, proximity
it's
beacons.
like
Yeah.
Bluetooth?
Yes, it's using the built-in Bluetooth radio
Oh,
to
Okay.
very nice.
scan for beacons. So it shows you the proximity UID, measured power, and the signal strength of the beacon.
So should I be able to see then any of the BLEs as built into the access points as well?
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, if there are if they're being used as beacons,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, cool. That's something we can
yes,
test out.
Yeah, we can probably do that with the
yeah.
missed access point.
Or Meraki.
Yeah. So
Doesn't have to be missed.
Oh, yeah, or Meraki.
No, that's really neat. If again another kind of everything it rolled into one application to verify where
Mhm.
are my beacons? Do I hear them as you're trying to troubleshoot even maybe location based applications, right? I think that's
yeah, and the idea, I mean, the idea with this, the spectrum analysis, the beacons, the Zigbee inspector that I have in there too, is to complement the Wi-Fi information. I don't want the tool to become an all-in-one tool.
Mhm.
I want it to be mainly a Wi-Fi scanner, but if you can complement information with some spectrum analysis data or some proximity beacons data to kind of get an idea of what's going on in in the environment, then that's the reason they're there. I don't want this to become like a, because some people have asked me about the spectrum analysis, how you can, if you can just do the spectrum analysis without scanning for networks. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't want this to become a dedicated spectrum analysis tool. I want it to be a Wi-Fi scanner that you can also
Mhm.
see the spectrum data to see if there's something going on that may be affecting the Wi-Fi, but not the other way around. That's why
Yeah, I mean,
if you
yeah.
just if you hide the inspectors, and it's pretty much the same original view that we have always had, except that now it's refined, for Big Sur, and it's a much cleaner interface. But yes.
Yeah, I think it looks good. I think it's packed. It's jam-packed with features. As you can see, probably. And I think for the price, it's a good value. I mean, it's an amazing value, right? When you compare it to other tools we use to do our work, I think, yeah, I think it's an amazing value. And it's if you have a Mac OS and you do Wi-Fi work, I definitely think you should have that application.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
must have
Do you want to talk
application.
about Airtool?
Yeah, let's take a look at
Yes, let's
Airtool
talk
improvements.
Airtool.
And Airtool is also, so you've updated Airtool as well last week. Um, and I guess you refreshed the interface a little bit as well for Big Sur. And I think you added features as well.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same layout for the menu, but with some pretty
Do you
icons
want to give a
to
quick
make it easier
a quick
to distinguish.
do you want to give a quick description of what Airtool is for people who don't really know the application yet?
Yeah, so Airtool, it's it's basically a capture utility. So it allows you to capture Wi-Fi traffic where it's pretty easy, pretty much one click and you are good to go with capturing on your Mac. It uses the built-in Wi-Fi radio, and you can capture on the current channel, or you can quickly switch to a different channel for capturing. But you can also choose multiple channels. Of course, that means it's going to be hopping between channels, but it has that option too. And on Airtool 2, what I added was the ability to do a remote capture. So the same way that we can connect a WLAN-PI to Wi-Fi Explorer Pro, now you can connect a WLAN-PI to Airtool and use it as a capture device remotely. And actually the same you can do with a Jetson Nano. But basically, I mean, the way it's implemented, it should allow you to use any Linux box that has a Wi-Fi adapter that you can put into monitor mode. And Airtool should be able to. I don't know which part you lost me.
You were talking about pretty much any Linux box should be able to
Yes.
be used as a remote sensor.
Correct. Yeah. So any Linux box that you can connect with using SSH and that has a Wi-Fi adapter with the with a driver that supports monitor mode, it should be able to use it as a remote capture device for Airtool. So for example, I have let me actually I disconnected that to connect the spectrum analysis to the spectrum analysis. So I'm connecting back the Pi. I'm gonna give it a little time to come up
Boot up.
because I want to show you the remote capture, how you can do a remote capture, but also show it live in Wireshark.
Oh, that's nice.
So usually Airtool, when you choose to capture, you create a file, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have to open that file in Wireshark, or you can have Airtool open the file after it's done in Wireshark, but you can also configure, if you go to the preferences in Airtool, and you can choose launch capturing Wireshark. So when you start the capture, Airtool is gonna launch Wireshark or open Wireshark, start the capture, and forward all the packets to Wireshark so you can see it live, the capture.
No way.
So,
That's amazing.
So the WMPI is ready. So let me see if this works, hopefully. So when you choose capture on the remote device, in this case WMPI, you have to choose the interface name, the channel, and the channel width. So I'm gonna leave it with those settings, start the capture. It's gonna ask for my username and password, which is the SSH username and password. You can choose to have Airtool remember the password. It's gonna save it securely on your keychain. Then you click OK. And then here is Wireshark being open and down. This is
that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So this is capturing from the WMPI showing live on Wireshark. And of course, this actually also works with the Jetson Nano.
Yeah, so we should be able to get AX frames the exact same way.
Yeah, I have one here, but I don't have it connected to this laptop. But yeah, I was testing it the other day, and it works pretty well with the Jetson Nano too.
And also, this allows you to do remote troubleshooting because you don't need to necessarily have the WLAN-PI local to you. You can ship it somewhere else. As long as you have SSH access, you can pretty much send the packets back to your Wireshark.
So correct. Yeah, as long as you have access to the Pi remotely over SSH, then you can do it the capture just fine.
Yeah, the other person
Yeah.
who receives it just has to plug it in. It just needs to connect,
Hmm.
and then that it's simple
Mm-hmm.
on their end.
And
Yes.
actually, I love being able to use a remote sensor for the packet capture because it allows us to keep our Wi-Fi connection. So let's say we need to do research as we're doing packet capture, we still have our connection to internet or whatnot using our local NIC, and then we can just do the packet capture from the WLAN Pi, and retrieve all the packet live. I think it's really convenient, and setting it up like I've set it up on my Airtool this week. It took me like 2 minutes to set it up. It's very fast, and if you have a WLAN Pi, nothing. You have nothing to do really except knowing, the name of the interface. But by default, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
the one that Adrian is showing up, right? WLAN 0, or is it Mon
Yes.
0? I forgot. Yeah.
No, it's WLAN
So,
0 for the WLAN Pi.
okay.
Yes.
Um, Now the question I'm gonna ask you, and you probably already know which question I'm gonna ask you, but what if we have two NICs connected to the WLAN Pi? What could we do packet capture on two different channels at the same time in the future?
Yeah. No. In the future. Yeah.
Yeah, in the future.
No. Yeah.
Um,
Not right now. No. It only supports one adapter, and even
yeah,
one capture at a time.
Pi.
Like I cannot start another capture while this one is running, for example.
How hard would it
Um,
be for you to be able to do like packet capture from two different WLAN Pis at the same time on two different channels? Is it complex for you to implement that?
no, I don't think it's gonna be that. I mean, I have all the code. I just need to make sure that I can start two instances of that piece of code. And then it will
Okay.
be, I guess, what is gonna be harder. I guess is gonna merge if we wanna merge those captures, so we only see one.
Mm-hmm.
One, like in word chart, only one window scrolling down
And
with all the
synchronize the
packets.
frames. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I guess, I mean, this is assuming that these two, for example, WLAN Pis have
same
synchronized
time.
time.
Hmm.
So, but I think that's the hardest part, the merging and making sure that it does it right.
Awesome.
Is there
All right.
anything
So
else you want to
basically,
share with Airtool? It's a good GUI refresh. The remote capture is pretty good. What about this upload capture with Airtool? What can you tell people about that?
oh yeah, so this option has to do with uploading captures to these cloud services, Cloud Shark and Packets. So if you go to the, sorry, I need to stop this capture so I can make changes to the tool. But if you go to preferences, upload, then you can configure Cloud Shark, for example. And then you can have when you're capturing, you can choose to save the captures to Cloud Shark automatically. You don't have to. So So here where it says capture files location in general preferences, you can choose Cloud Shark. It's not configured right now, so I cannot choose it. But or you can choose the packets, which is it used to be the Mojo packets cloud
Yeah, it's
service.
Mm-hmm.
Arista now.
Arista
Mm-hmm.
now. Yes. So and with that you do the capture, and then Airtool is gonna save it into it's gonna upload it to Cloud Shark, and then when you click on the notification when the capture has been uploaded, then you get a browser window with the capture open, and then you can start using their tools to analyze the capture and stuff. Um, and you can use this the option you were asking specifically about the upload capture is to, let's say you already have some captures on your computer and you want to upload them to this service, you can use this option as opposed to go to the browser and open Cloud Shark and log in and blah blah blah. So it's just a quicker way to do it. But yeah, one thing I wanna share also is that it might not be a big deal, but I try to improve the documentation of the apps this time.
Mhm.
So I have added a completely new help book for Airtool and also for Wi-Fi Explorer Pro, which is pretty comprehensive, and it has, you can go there and read about how the capture works, how to do the different captures, single capture, multiple capture using a remote sensor, how to build that sensor, manage the sensors, some of the advanced options like packet slicing, or what we're talking about of integrating with the different cloud services, preference, etc. So, I mean, it's no, for some people this might be useful, and I was gonna say that it took me a long time to write it, but I think it's worth it to have it there. So as
Yeah,
a
yeah,
reference,
Oh yeah, we
um,
appreciate
yeah,
all that documentation.
yeah.
yeah. It's very nice.
So I
No, I
don't know if
mean
you
that.
have any other
Awesome.
questions. This is pretty much
Yeah, maybe
what
I guess what you can share is, where can people actually download and get the apps from? Maybe you can talk about your new website. Looks good actually.
yeah. So if you go to intuitivits.com,
We'll share a link in the show notes so you guys can take a look at the website.
yeah, you can go to intuitibits.com, and then there you'll find all the different products, apps, and you can download it from there. The for Airtool 2. So Airtool used to be a free app. Now we are charging for it, but I think it's affordable. It's just $14.99,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
and you
completely
can.
affordable.
It has a 3-day free trial if you want to try it. First before you buy it. The same with Wi-Fi Explorer Pro 3. You can download it, try it for 7 days, and buy it if you think it's going to help you. It's Wi-Fi Explorer Pro 3 is $129.99, but if you are an existing Pro user, you can apply for a discount and get 30% off for upgrading.
Yeah, I think it's affordable for the value proposition, as we say in business. I'm
Yeah,
sure you know the
Yeah,
business vocabulary now.
yeah.
I'm
It's
I'm learning. Yes.
it's useful for anyone who's going to be working with Wi-Fi networks. Both of these apps I use on a daily basis, almost for captures, for network scanning, and now with all these extra features of pinning columns, adding a lot more additional columns with profiles, I can get a lot more efficient with the network analysis that I'm doing. So I really appreciate the work that you're putting into this, Adrian, and I'm sure a lot of people really appreciate the work you're putting into it and taking in also the feedback from different members of the community.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, I try to listen to the people on Twitter or on Slack, listen to their
Mhm.
needs, and because I personally don't work on the field, I don't install wireless networks, I don't do surveys
Mhm.
and stuff like that, but I try to keep up with the technologies, the news, and with what people need, and then putting everything together into this app to make sure that it's easy to use and lightweight. And in fact, I mean, we were talking about running this on the new uh, M1 Max. Um, yeah, it's nice that this they can run now natively on these Macs, but to be honest, the apps were all very lightweight, so you are not really gonna notice much of a difference in terms of performance.
Mhm.
But if you're working with very large networks like 500
We lost him a little
We
bit.
lost him again.
He's gonna come back. He's gonna
He,
come back.
he'll come back. He's got
scrolling
there.
and stuff like that. But
we lost you for a bit there. So you said if you were working on some type of network.
I mean, if you are doing a scan of, let's say you go to a place where have a bunch of networks, then scrolling on Wi-Fi Explorer Pro is going to be much better if you use the new Macs. But I was saying that they are very lightweight, so you can really just run the apps on a old MacBook Air, and it's going to be fine. So you don't have to, if you really want to use a Mac and don't want to spend thousands of dollars on one, you can find a used one. It's going to work fine.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on to the show to talk about the improvements and updates to Wi-Fi Explorer Pro with version 3 now, and also the Airtool. And we recommend everyone go and download these tools, try them out if you got a Mac, and really see what you can do just by leveraging the laptop that you already have with you anyways. And this is a great way to even learn how Wi-Fi works, because you can look into the details of the frames. You can do some networks, maybe more simple methods of analysis by using Wi-Fi Explorer Pro and by looking at the details of the SSID itself, because that is also grabbing all the fields that you would see in Wireshark. So it makes it a lot more simplified. So I recommend these applications for people who are just getting started, also with CWNA and moving on through all the different professional level certifications. So thank you, Adrian, for joining us and showing us some of the features that you implemented. And we'll end up also talking more about the applications as we get used to it as well.
Yes, and thank you for having me. I hope to be here again in the next for 200 episodes.
Yeah, well, I wanted to tell you just good luck in your business venture. Hopefully, you can start hiring other developers to help you out and come up with even more features and applications.
I really could use some help. Yeah. let's see how it goes in 2021, and hopefully it will be better for everybody. But yes, thank you.
That's you're doing an awesome job being alone. So yeah, congrats on that. And yeah, I'm sure you'll be successful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you everyone for listening. So if you have any other questions or you want to leave a comment, go ahead and do so down below in the comment section of the video, or hit us up on our show notes, cleartosend.net. But we want to thank you for listening or watching. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good week.
Bye.